Hey, hey, my lovely solos. Welcome back. Welcome back. Dr. Nick here, wellness coach and wholeness advocate, and you are listening to Holistic Mental Health for Women Solopreneurs. Ladies, if there is one thing in the world I'm going to support wholeheartedly, it's a midday nap. I love sleep. Most of my work, even before my professional career in mental health, has been with children. Anyone who knows me knows I love my babies. I've learned so much caring for and counseling children over the years. But the one thing me and these kids do not agree on is naps. Hello. These kids are out here fighting sleep. And I'm like, can I just get like 20, 30 minutes of silence and shut eye, please? I need my rest. I will fight for it. I will protect it and guard it like I'm Fort Knox. Okay. But it has not always been this way for me. And this is what I want to talk to you about today. So let's get into it, shall we? I want to talk about something that sounds simple. And honestly, it is really simple. But for a lot of us as solopreneurs, it is not easy. It's actually really challenging. And that's rest. Not just taking a rest here and there, but truly receiving rest. For many of us, rest doesn't feel restful. It feels uncomfortable. It feels unfamiliar. Man, sometimes it can even feel wrong, and we feel guilty for trying to get some. Who can relate to that? Maybe people in your life have been lovingly telling you, hey, you need to slow down. You need to take a break. You need to rest. While you're looking at them like, rest? What's that? Or when you actually try to rest, if you try to rest, instead of peace, what shows up is guilt. You feel bad when you're not doing something. You feel anxious when your schedule has margins in it. The terror. You hear that voice that says, you're being lazy, you're being selfish the moment you slow down. And before you even realize it, you're reaching for your phone, opening your laptop, creating some to-do list, finding anything at all for you to feel productive, to feel useful, to feel valuable. If that's you, I need you to lean in. I need you to hear me clearly. You are not alone. I coach countless women who are overcome with guilt for feeling like they need to take time for themselves to rest, recover, and rejuvenate. So what happens is they don't do it, and they create routines of burnout and consistently living a life they must recover from. Don't feel bad. Don't beat yourself up. You're not broken. You've been trained. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to our productivity, that being busy means we matter, that being useful means we're valuable, that slowing down means, we're falling behind. So when you try to rest and it feels uncomfortable, that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means your mind, your habits, and even your body are trying to adjust to something very new. The challenge is that you try, you get frustrated, you stop trying because you're not seeing results, or the guilt for stepping away is so overwhelming that you stop trying so the guilt will end. Ladies like this come to me feeling so worn out and usually lead with, I need help managing my stress and anxiety, Nicole. And yes, while there is some truth to what they're saying, when we get down to the heart of the matter, what they really need is help setting boundaries and valuing themselves enough to say, rest is not an option for me. What if you really stopped judging yourself for how uncomfortable rest makes you feel? What if instead you started embracing the discomfort as part of your process of learning to create new rhythms in your life? It's a process of becoming the woman who knows that she can't be all things to all people at all times. It's a process of becoming the woman who knows that everything will not fall apart if she spends 5 minutes deep breathing, followed by 10 minutes of stretching every morning. It's the process of becoming a woman who understands that one small, brave step can lead to enormous life change. And it's a process of embracing those midday naps. What if the goal isn't to instantly become amazing at resting? What if the goal is simply to stay in the discomfort a little longer, long enough to begin retraining yourself, long enough to know that you don't have to overhaul your entire life immediately, long enough to begin believing that you are safe, that rest is safe, it's valuable, and it's yours just because you exist, not because you earned it. Pause there for a moment. Do you believe that? Do you believe that it is safe for you to rest? Do you believe that rest is valuable, a non negotiable? Do you believe that rest is yours just because you exist, not because you performed or produced enough to earn it? Let's pause right there for a moment, ladies. I want you to be honest with yourself. I want you to really take it in. I want you to tell yourself the truth about what you believe about rest, about yourself, about your value and your worth, about your productivity and your output. I want you to come to a deep understanding. Because listen, this matters more than we sometimes realize. Learning how to rest without guilt is not just about feeling better. It's about how you sustain what you're building. Because if you're a solopreneur, if you are going after something meaningful, if you are building a business, a vision, a calling, then your ability to pause, to rest, to step away without shame is directly connected to your ability to keep going. Sustainable impact does not come from constant output. It comes from rhythm, rhythms of rest, redemptive rhythms. It comes from knowing when to move, when to pause, when to push, and when to restore. Because if you never learn how to rest without guilt, you will either burn out, start to resent what you once loved, or build something that costs you way more than it should. And that is never the goal. The goal is not just to build something. The goal is to build something incredibly well that outlasts you and impacts the people it's supposed to impact. The goal is to build in a way that allows you to stay connected to yourself, to your capacity, to your creativity, to your peace, to your God. And that requires a different relationship with rest. This is something I've been living through these past few months, right? And I think this is especially important for those of us who know how to keep going. You know, those of us who continually go. We keep leading. We keep building. We keep serving. We know how to push. We know how to show up no matter what. But this is important because that strength of knowing how to keep going, if not balanced, can quietly become the very thing that breaks you down. So if this is something you struggle with, I want to invite you to start small. If you've listened to any of my episodes recently, you hear me consistently saying, you don't need to overhaul your life. I invite you to start small, to take one brave step, to take the most aligned next step for you. You do not need to perform rest. You just need to keep showing up for it. One of the most common challenges in my work as a mental health coach is goal setting. Ladies, we try to do it all and do it all at the same time. For some reason, many of us fall into all or nothing thinking. We make one mistake, we have one off day, and it's over. That's it. I quit. I can't do it. We cannot keep going after our goal for rest or radical self care or any other goal for that matter in this way. What could a first step rest goal look like for you? Here are some examples. It could look like sitting for 5 minutes, 3 times per week without multitasking. It could look like standing outside with your face toward the sun for 5 minutes every morning before work. It could look like taking a 5 to 20 minute walk 3 times per week without a podcast. Unless it's mine. Just kidding. No podcasts. It could look like breathing deeply for a few minutes, for 1 minute, 3 times throughout your workday. You just take the step. The resistance I get with this is, that's not a lot. What difference is that going to make? Ladies, these powerful pauses in your day can shift everything. These are power pauses. That's what these are. Sitting for 5 minutes, 3 times per week without multitasking. Going outside for 5 minutes every morning with your face toward the sun. Can't do 5 minutes, do 1 minute, right? These are the power pauses and they can change everything for you. Sometimes when you start this though, what comes up right away isn't peace. It's restlessness. It's discomfort. Is this really working? Is this really doing anything? Or it's the thoughts that start coming that you've been avoiding. It's the feelings that you've been too busy to sit with. All of this is part of the process because rest doesn't just slow your body down. It also creates space for what's been buried to come to the surface. And that can feel uncomfortable, right? But here's the truth. You don't need to escape those feelings. You also don't need to immediately fix them. You don't need to rush back into doing just to avoid the feeling. You can sit with it. You can meet yourself there. You can offer yourself compassion instead of criticism. You can. You can do it. And it's important because over time, rest will start to become less foreign to you, less uncomfortable, and more like a natural rhythm. And this really matters, especially if you are building something meaningful, especially if you want to create sustainable impact, especially if you don't want your success to come at the expense of your wellness, at the expense of you. So here's the question I want to leave you with today. As you experiment, and I hope you do experiment with these power pauses, these mini power pauses, I want you to think about what thoughts or feelings come up for you when you try to rest, when you try to implement power pauses. How could you show yourself some compassion in those moments, in the midst of those feelings? No judgment, no shame, but compassion. Remember, ladies, it's not about you needing to try harder. It's about you learning to trust that rest is not a threat to who you are. Rest is not a threat to your worth and your value. Rest is a part of how you sustain the dream. It's a part of how you honor your capacity. It's part of how you build. It's part of how you build without abandoning yourself in the process. Take a breath. Take a pause. Let rest become safer and more comfortable to you with each power pause you implement. One small moment, one small step at a time. Until next time, my lovely solos, nurture the wholeness within.